Augie. It's a day in the life of Augie. Yeah. It's a day in the life of Augie.
Hey, what is up, everyone? You're listening to another episode in a day in the life of Augie, and this is your host, Michael Ogbonna. Thank you guys so much for listening, as always. I'm super excited to share this podcast with you guys. I really believe that if you listen to what I'm about to share and what's been going on in my life, I feel like it'll really encourage you. If you saw the title, obviously its title is Living Intentionally and with No Regrets in 2023. And so, this may be a 2-part series depending on how long it takes me to get through what I want to share. But I just want to help you guys this year. Everyone that's listening, I don't want like this year to just go by and we just go through the same old, and we just go through the motions and we don't even take time to slow down and like just take time to realize what's happening in our lives. I feel like it's just so easy to just get into just the mundane routine of life, and like you work, you go to work, you come home, go to sleep, you just do something fun every once in a while, and then next thing you know, it's 2024, Happy New Year, and it's the same old. I want to talk about living intentionally this year. Living intentionally, and then after I'll talk about living with no regrets. But like, what does it actually mean to live intentionally? Like when you hear someone say that, like you need to be intentional, what does that mean? I looked it up on Google, and it's the definition of intention, like intention or intentional, is the fact of being deliberate or purposive or having purpose. In other words, like living with purpose and vision every day. And I feel like that kind of sums it up. Like just being intentional is just living with meaning, living with purpose, being deliberate in your actions, kind of not just going through the motions, but like doing everything with an understanding of why you're doing it. And so, I just want to encourage you, like, what is the reason why you do what you do every day? Like, why do you wake up and go to your job? Why do you hang out with the people you hang with? Why do you do the things that you do? What is the purpose behind everything that you do? And you don't have to like make it this whole deep thing, but like you just take time to think about it. I feel like that's the beginning of starting to live an intentional life, is like just really just evaluating why you do what you do. You know what I'm saying? I read this awesome book last year, like late last year, called 30 Secrets to the Top, and by his name is Dr. Paul Aniche. He's actually a pastor in Nigeria, and in his book, one of the chapters was like living deliberately or living with purpose was one of the chapters and one of the secrets to the top. And he said that living with purpose means to calculate your steps, to weigh your options in all that you do in life. And it also means to think deeply through whatever you do. And I feel like that's like the start of living a life that has intention, or living intentionally is like, you got to start by evaluating where you're currently at. And so I think sometimes people like to avoid doing that because maybe where they're currently at isn't where they want to be, and they're kind of like mad about it or upset about it. Or maybe just life happens and, things have happened that kind of derailed you, and you kind of literally lost purpose, and you don't really want to face the facts of your life because you don't like the way your life is going. And so that's really understandable. But in order to fix where you're at currently, you have to evaluate. You have to like have a starting point. Like, where am I at? Where do I want to go? That's the only way you can fix it. So I feel like the start of living an intentional life starts with just facing reality, in other words. And I kind of actually went through this process last year, and I got like this. I use Notion a lot. It's like a productivity app. And somebody that I follow on Twitter released this end of the year review, like this yearly review and they had it set up to where like they had all these questions you could ask yourself about, like, what are the top 10 places that you visited in 2022? What are the top 10, what are your top 10 biggest accomplishments from 2022? And it just made me like kind of reflect on the whole year. And so when I was doing that, it caused me to really like evaluate my year. Like, how did I might have had a thought of how I did spend my time, but how did I actually spend my year? Like, what did I actually accomplish? What did I actually do? And so obviously I was like, man, I wish I would have done this, this, and this. And I was able to see what I did and didn't do because I took time to evaluate my year and just kind of review it, you know? And I think it's important that we all do the same thing. Like, where are you at? What did you do last year? What goals did you make? Which out of all your New Year's resolutions from 2022, which how many of them did you actually do, and how many of them did you not even come close to accomplishing? I always think of the story of the prodigal son, right? And a lot of times we just live aimlessly, but like this prodigal son, if you know the story, he asked his dad, hey, can I have some of your can you give me my portion of the estate or my portion of the inheritance? And so the dad gave it to him. And then right when he got all the money, the prodigal son, he ran off. It said that he ran off and he started living crazy, spending all his money to the point where he like became homeless. And he actually was starting to eat what the pigs eating. Like, he was literally homeless. And then it said when he came to himself, he started to think, like, he was sitting with the pigs. He's homeless. After living with his dad, he left, spent all his money, is broke, is homeless. It says when he came to himself, or like when he thought about where he was at, he started to like ponder, like, okay, how many of my father's servants have more than enough bread, and I'm here starving? Like, I'm just going to go home and serve my dad. I'm going to be a slave for my dad. It'd just be better than sitting with the pigs, So he just sat and thought about where he was at. In one version, it says when he finally came to his senses, he decided to go back to his parents' house. And so, like, there's something about just sitting and thinking about your life, like thinking about where you're at right now. Like, why am I in the position that I'm in right now? Some things is things you can't control, but a lot of things are things that you can like change today that will make your life better, And this is what I'm talking about, is living an intentional life, like asking yourself some questions. And I can give you some questions to ask, like, think about this. Are you channeling your energy in life in the right direction right now? Like, think about, are the people around you, are they the best for your life? The people that are around you constantly, your friends, your close friends, your family, are they the best people for your life? And then here's another question. Is what you're doing right now the best use of your time? Like, think about what you do on a day-to-day basis. Do you think that the best use of your time is to sit like on social media for 2 hours, or to watch Netflix for 2 hours, or to sit on TikTok for an hour or 2 hours? Like, think about that. What are you doing with your time? It is what you're currently doing on a day-to-day basis. Is it in the best interest of your destiny? Like your purpose in life, is like what you're doing heading towards that purpose. And then this is a final question, especially if you're born again, if you're a Christian, is what you're doing right now in the best interest of your eternity? That's a deep question. Like, think about the things that you do. Is it like in the best interest of my eternity? Your eternal destination should be heaven if you're a Christian. So are the things that you're doing on a day-to-day basis, is it bringing you towards that, or is it kind of hindering you from that? These are just questions that you can ask yourself, and you can make these adjustments, right? I mean, if you ask yourself, what are you doing with your time, and you say, okay, I'm not gonna lie, I'm on my phone a lot. Like, I have to do that to myself. Like, I'm on my phone a lot. but I don't want to be on my phone a lot. So you have to say, okay, I'm going to make a decision. I'm not going to be on I'm not going to do this, this, and this. I'm going to make the changes. And as you make the changes, you get different results. And so this is all just about being intentional, having purpose with everything that you do. And I think obviously you got to find that purpose, right? Like if you don't feel like you know your purpose, that should be like your number one thing that you ask God. And that's one of the benefits of coming to God and being a child of God is like, you just, even if you don't know it perfectly, when you give your life to Christ, like he just gives you a greater meaning to life. Like you just feel like there's more to life than just like going to work, eating, sleeping, and dying. There's just something that's in you that knows that you're made for more, right? And so, but the more you spend time with the Lord, the more he'll show you the reason why you were created. And then once you find your purpose, you should live every day with that purpose in mind and moving towards that purpose. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, I've been like super intentional about my time this year. And I'm going to give you guys some practical things about, how you can practically be intentional with your life, right? And one of the things is like one of the things I've been doing is I've been super intentional with my time. Like I literally, if you guys follow me on Instagram, you've probably seen it. I've been really, really deliberate about my time, and like I schedule out every day exactly what I'm going to do at what time, and I stick to it. I literally stuck to it perfectly this week. And what's happening is like I'm super, like the things that I want to get done, I prioritize and I put it in my schedule and I get them done. Whereas before I would want to do so many things, but I would never like write it down or plan to do it, and it would just never happen. But because I'm like making an effort to plan out my days and write it down and constantly look at it, I'm getting things done. I'm being intentional. I'm not wasting time anymore on my phone. Like I'm careful how much I spend on social media. Like I'm just being intentional. And that's just one way. It's just making a schedule. I use Notion to do my schedule, and I use Google Calendar to keep all my like stuff to do and have it all laid out. I love looking at it, so that's what I do. And how can you make your morning? How can you like think about stuff like, what do you do when you first get up? How can you make your mornings more productive? Just planning it out honestly helps. Think about what you do when you get home from work. Like that's something I'm working on right now. Like I want to have I have a morning routine down, but I want to have like an evening routine, so that I don't just come home and after dinner just sit on the couch until I go to sleep. I want to be more productive. There's this guy that I read a book. He wrote a book called Millionaire Success Habits. I read it like several years ago, like before COVID. And it was by, his name is Dean Gruskowski. He's like, he's like an entrepreneur guy. And he says that if, you should schedule your day before your day schedules you. And I mean, I feel like all of us can be like, relate and be like, yeah, honestly, most of the time my day is scheduling me because I just do whatever happens, whatever someone calls me, hey, you want to do this? I do it. Like someone tells me, hey, you want to do this? I do it. Like you don't have any plan. But if you schedule your day, now you're in control. You're in the driver's seat. So I thought that was a cool quote. Schedule your day before your day schedules you. So anyways, yeah, practically I would say, living with intention is about living with purpose, asking yourself questions, and, staying organized and being purposeful with everything that you do. And the way that I've been doing that is by making a schedule and using my calendar and really sticking to it, prioritizing what I really want to do, what's most important to me, and then like doing whatever it takes to do it. And so bottom line, this year, I want you guys to make a decision to live intentionally. Like, don't let this year pass you by and you just float through life. Like, live with a purpose, accomplish your goals, like come up with systems to accomplish the goals that you have, We don't want to go like another year and just nothing changes, just the same old year. Be deliberate. And I promise if you do that, you will have the best year you've ever had. You will have the best year you've ever had if you're going to be deliberate and with purpose. And so